Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. My name is Doug, and today we're going to make a delicious and beautiful Easter cake. Stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. So this cake is going to be very similar to like a European style torte. And what I mean by that is, so we're going to be using, this is sort of semi-homemade because we're using Betty Crocker's Super Moist vanilla cake mix right here. But once the cake is done and it's completely cooled, we are going to cut each one in half. So we are going to have multi-layers. And each layer is going to consist of, we're using Smucker's apricot fruit spread. And I'm going to put that, right on top of one of the layers. And then we're going to fill it with some pastry cream. And then we're going to add another cake layer. And we're going to keep repeating that process. So I think there's going to be 4 layers. And then the outside is going to be a whipped cream frosting. And of course, we're going to decorate it really beautifully for Easter. So I hope you stay tuned and try this recipe. Okay, so the first step you want to do is preheat your oven. We have it on 325 degrees. I'm just following the directions. And why is it 325 degrees and not 350? Because we're using non-stick pans. And the size of this pan is an 8-inch round. So we're going to be using 2 of them. And once again, I'm just following the directions on the box. So very simple, nothing hard. We have our cake mix here. I mean, sometimes semi-homemade is okay. And we're going to be using 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. And 1 cup of water and 3 eggs. We're going to add our vegetable oil and our 1 cup of water. Nothing hard, just following the directions. We're going to mix that well for about 2 minutes. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes. And during the process, you probably want to scrape down the sides at least 1 time. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to pour the same amount in each of the pans. Now I have, by the way, I have this parchment paper lining here. It's just going to make it really easy to pull out. I mean, these are non-stick pans, but okay, so make sure they're approximately even. And we're going to put them in the oven and bake them at 325 for approximately 30 minutes. The directions on the box say for 2 8-inch rounds, it's 26 to 31 minutes. So we're probably going to do around 30 minutes. And we're going to test it with a toothpick. Make sure you insert a toothpick in the middle. And if it comes out clean, then you know it's done. All right, we'll start baking our cake. Okay, the next step is we're going to get 4 egg yolks. And I have this egg separator. And if you want with the egg whites, you can make an omelet with it, egg white omelet. And the last one. 4. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side. And we have right here, we have a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, white sugar, and we have 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And you need a wire whisk, and we're just going to whisk that together. Over here I have a vanilla bean, and we're going to use maybe about half of it. And what you want to do is we're going to split that and get all those seeds out. Two cups. We need 2 cups of milk that we're going to simmer with the vanilla bean. So this is 1 in this saucepan here. And this is 2. Then I'm going to get the seeds and just empty all those seeds. Let me cut this better. You just want to get all those seeds. You could also use, if you wanted to, you can use vanilla extract. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so on a low flame, I'm going to stir that. And we just want to bring this to a simmer. We want to heat this, but we don't want to boil it. All right, you just want to heat it up. Okay, so with the whisk, or you can use a wooden spoon, just keep stirring that until it gets nice and warm. Put this towel underneath here because that noise drives me nuts. All right. Perfect. Okay, you can see what that looks like right now, the egg mixture. Now, our milk is definitely at a simmer. And what we're going to do is we're going to slowly pour the milk into the egg, and we're going to continue to whisk as we're doing it. A little bit at a time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it back into the saucepan. And we're going to put it back on the heat and continue to stir it until it thickens. We're going to continue to stir it in the saucepan on a low heat. We want this to thicken nicely. So as you're stirring with your whisk, you can see that it's getting thicker. And you want it almost like a custard-like consistency. I wanted to show you really quickly, see how it coats the back of that spoon there, and it's very thick. So this is done. We're going to put it in a bowl, and then we're going to put plastic wrap. And when we put the plastic wrap on it, you want to make sure that the plastic wrap is touching the liquid, okay? So this way it doesn't create that skin on top. But we're going to put 1 tablespoon of butter in here and let that melt in here, and then we're going to add it to a bowl. Now we have to put this in the refrigerator and let it cool completely so you can see how nice and creamy it is. This is exactly what you want. And we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let this cool completely, probably for about at least an hour, maybe 2. Okay. That's the longest part of this whole process, is waiting for this pastry cream to cool. And I'm going to get my plastic wrap and watch what I do. I'm going to place it and I'm going to push it right where it's touching the pastry cream. Okay, so this way it doesn't get that skin on top. All right, so in the refrigerator it goes for about 1 to 2 hours. Okay, let me show you our cake right now. We let them cool in the pan at first for about 10 minutes, and then we transferred them to this cooling rack here. We want to make sure these are totally cooled before we slice these 2 in half. So that's how you can see we're going to get our 4 layers there. Now over here you can see I got some parchment paper, and I'm going to be placing the bottom part on it, and we're going to decorate our cake. It's on a Lazy Susan, so we can put the whipped cream on here, ice or frost it really nicely. All right, that's prepared. Okay, so next we're going to make our whipping cream, and I'm getting 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, half teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and we're going to use approximately a half cup of powdered sugar, maybe a little less than a half. And we're going to whip this up. Now you want to whip this up till it has soft peaks. Let's give it a taste. Yep, that's it. Now I used extra creamy, heavy whipping cream, but you can use regular. All right, so our whipped cream is done. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold that into the pastry cream just to make it a little bit more fluffier. So with a serrated knife, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in half, and I'm going to lay my hand on top. And this is a serrated knife, and I'm going to gently go through the cake. Perfect. Now, just to let you know, make sure you use a serrated knife and make sure that the cake is totally cool. Perfect. I'm going to do the same with this one now. On my cake stand here, I have my parchment paper. And I'm going to place this right at the bottom. And we're going to add 1 layer of the Smucker's apricot fruit spread. I'm going to put that on first. Okay, so for my next step, I'm getting the apricot fruit spread, and I'm just putting a nice generous amount. And with these little spatula, I'm just going to spread that around. So we just want a thin layer of the apricot. And apricot it's used so much in Europe. You'll find that in a lot of cakes and pastries. So just a nice little layer. Just make sure that you get every little area. All right, and then the next layer is going to be the pastry cream, and we just want a nice kind of thick layer of that, and then we'll add the next layer of cake and we'll keep going. So we'll build a nice little torte. All right, we'll continue. Okay, so we're back, and what I took out the pastry cream from the refrigerator, and you can see what it's like. It's almost like a custard. Yep, looks good. Mm. Mm. Tastes really good too. Excellent. Now I'm going to get the whipped cream, and I'm going to fold it into the pastry cream. This is just going to make it light and fluffy and airy. Now with my cake, I'm going to just put this layer on top of the apricot, or apricot. Using my offset spatula, I'm just going to just smear that around. You want a nice layer of the pastry cream though. And just bring it towards the side. Very nice. Okay, that looks good. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to add our next layer of the cake. I'm going to put this like that. And we're going to do the apricot again. Now this cake will take about 2 of these jars of the apricot. This is a, is this a 10 ounce? Looks like a 10 ounce jar of the apricot spread. Okay, nice. Everything looks spread out nicely. Okay, now I'm going to add more pastry cream. Ready for my next layer. Layer of the apricot and the pastry cream. Now we're going to add on our last layer, and that's going to be the top. Now you want to press down just gently, okay? And any excess that drips out, clean that up. Now what I want to do is I'm going to put the layer of whipping cream, and then we're going to decorate it. Stay tuned. Okay, so now we're going to decorate it with some whipping frosting. Basically, I made the whipped cream the same way. And we're just going to frost our cake with the whipped cream. Once again, I'm using an offset spatula. Very important. And the Lazy Susan just makes it easy to swirl it around. All right, now what we're going to do is release or take away the paper. we're gonna decorate it. So I got at Target Favorite Day Little Lamb. It's white chocolate. And I just thought he looked really cute as a centerpiece. And then I have these edible flowers. They're like little wafers. Thought I would decorate with flowers all around. They look really pretty. Like I said, these are edible. I got these off of Amazon. And there it is, my Easter cake torte. Thank you so much for joining us today on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living and happy Easter. Bye-bye.